When is the last time that you woke up excited, filled with passion and anticipation for the day? You couldn't wait to get out of bed and go do whatever it was you had to do that day. Have you felt this recently? Maybe it was years ago. Maybe you haven't felt this since you were a kid. Well, recently I was living the complete opposite of what I just described. I couldn't find a reason to get out of bed, nor did I really want to. I had to drag myself throughout the day, through all the things that I needed to do. I found myself more and more on my phone, scrolling through social media, seeking an escape. It felt like this was the only thing I could enjoy in the moment, but it was worthless. It always left me feeling worse than I felt before. But I got fed up with it, and I started thinking deeply and exploring the idea of what it was inside of me that led me to feel this way. What it was that kept me in this loop of consumption, of spending more and more time on my phone and enjoying my life less and less. I thought about our human nature, our natural desires, what drives the sense of passion, fulfillment, and enjoyment for life. All I wanted was to feel that again. As a result, I started applying one principle that changed everything for me. And now I can say I live that type of life that I described at the start of this video. Of course, it's not 100% of the time, that would be impossible. But my life is completely different than what it was because of this one principle. In this video, we're going to explore what that was for me, why I think it's so incredibly important, and how you can apply it to your life to hopefully feel the same way. Before we get started, I just wanted to say, as you can see the title, I think there are tons and tons of different things that go into truly enjoying life. And in this video, I'm just going to touch on one of these things that I think you can apply to your life to get you closer to that incredible sense of enjoyment that I know you long for. All right, whether you believe the Bible or not, I think you're going to find this incredibly interesting. Literally, the first verse of the Bible, Genesis 1:1, says that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God created. This is literally the first thing that we learn about him, is that he is the ultimate creator. Now, later on in that chapter, verse 27, we learn that God created us in his image. That means we were created in the image of the Creator. That it is quite literally part of us to be creators in the world that he created for us. We were created to create. All right, now think about this. We live in a society of consumption. Especially if you live in America, it seems that consumption is the foundation of our lives. Why is this? It's because the biggest companies in the world profit off of our consumption. The more we consume, the more money they make. So naturally, they're going to push consumption as much as humanly possible. They quite literally exploit our human nature to involuntarily get us addicted to consuming whatever it is that they want us to consume. Think about social media. How fast, stimulating, entertaining, and pleasurable these quick, short videos are to watch. They appeal to us at a neurological level. These companies have developed technology that take advantage of our dopamine system to keep us coming back, to keep us consuming. If you think about the food industry, packing literally every product full of sugar to once again appeal to our dopamine system, to make it so pleasurable that suddenly normal, clean, natural food is not as stimulating, is not as interesting as a Pop-Tart or as an ice cream cone. Something that tastes so good to eat. That's what these companies are doing. They have created a society of consumption. Nowadays, it is more pleasurable, more interesting, and more entertaining to consume rather than to create. Now, at surface level, this might seem sort of insignificant, kind of like whatever. But I truly believe that this affects us on an incredibly deep level. If you think about the fact that we are literally made to create, don't you think the suppression of that natural desire would be pretty detrimental to us as humans? To be pretty detrimental to how we live, how we're supposed to live? Now, this might even also affect another part of our human nature, and that is to contribute, to give, to share with others around us. When you think about consuming, all you're really doing is just taking, and there's never the giving in the form of creation, sharing, contributing. And I think this affects us also at a really deep level, subconsciously, whether you think so or not. Because I honestly believe that it creates this effect in our mind that it's like all you're really here to do is take. There's no sense of accomplishment or pride or joy in the giving. All right, so what's the solution? How do we get out of this? How do we get to the place where we are waking up excited, enjoying life again? The principle that I implemented that really helped me to get to this place kind of has two parts. One, it was to create more than I consume. I started becoming hyper-focused and incredibly intentional with creating first, before I consume, with trying to spend more and more time writing, developing ideas, making videos, editing, just giving and sharing and contributing to society. And what I noticed was, at the start, this was really boring. I'm not gonna lie. This kind of sucked. I didn't really want to do this. Why? Because it was way more pleasurable to consume. That's just the reality. But after pushing through that for a bit, after creating, consuming less and less, I started becoming more passionate, more excited, and more fulfilled. I started becoming excited to write, excited to create, explore ideas, and put it out into the world. I found my desire and urge to consume sort of diminishing. It was getting smaller. I started to want to create rather than to consume. And it started to become effortless. It didn't feel like I was forcing myself to create anymore. Now, the other part of this principle that I implemented was what I'm calling a content diet. All right, think about this in relation to food. If you only ate ice cream, how do you think you'd feel? You'd probably feel pretty terrible all the time. So in the same sense, if we only consume junk content, super fast, useless, just purely entertaining and pleasurable content that doesn't add anything to our lives, if that's all we consume, how do you think that's going to make you feel? All it really does is fill your brain up with all this useless crap, making it foggy, hard to focus, and just messing up your dopamine system to the point where that's all you want to consume. It's the same thing with sugar. I'm sure you've noticed the more sugar you eat, the more sugar you want to eat all the time. And vice versa, the less sugar you eat, the less desire you have to eat the sugar. That's your dopamine system sort of resetting back to where it should be naturally. What does it look like to go on this content diet? For me, this is what it looked like. To one, just be intentional about not going on Instagram. Instagram was the worst for me. If I had that urge where I was like bored in the moment and I'd go to reach for my phone and go on Instagram, I'd take a second to think about that and just snap out of it and decide not to. I just started becoming more and more intentional. And I also sort of made a rule for myself that I was only really allowed to consume this clean, nutritious, quality content, such as podcasts, books, even movies. These things that are less stimulating, more quality and information dense, things that I actually learn from and can apply to my life, and that are just way better than all this junk that's out there. So I started becoming intentional with only consuming this clean content and consuming less and less of this junk. Now again, this is not perfect. It's very, very hard to avoid all the junk content. It's everywhere. I still find myself scrolling now and then. I still find myself watching useless YouTube videos. But at this point, my dopamine system started to go back to how it normally should be. I started enjoying reading, enjoying learning about deep topics that are less stimulating but are actually valuable to my life. I started watching more movies and having a deeper sense of appreciation for cinematography and story and how people convey and create these ideas. The more I focused on consuming quality, clean, nutritious content, the less I even wanted to consume the junk. Again, this is exactly what I'm experiencing, with dieting with food. It's the same concept. And the more I was intentional with applying this principle to my life, to create more than I consume, and to go on this content diet, I started enjoying life. I started becoming more and more passionate about learning, about reading, about writing, about developing ideas, filming these videos, and really contributing and sharing to the world. I started waking up excited because I knew this is what I had to look forward to. Now, I'm sure you might be thinking, well, I'm not a creative person. I feel like I don't have that creativity in me. I don't even know what I would create. And that's a fair concern. I hear a ton of people say that. But I honestly think the only reason why you feel this way is because this part of you has been suppressed for so long. God did not say he only created some people in his image. He created everyone. That means the ability, the innate desire and human nature for you to create is inside of you. It's not missing. It's not like you don't have it. Of course, it's going to take a different form than other people. But for you, it might be music. It could be poetry. It could be making movies or programming. It could be creating businesses or creating videos like these. It could be literally anything. But I think just because as a society we have subconsciously suppressed this creative nature in us for so long that people just think it's not part of them, that they're just meant and put on this earth to consume. And I just don't think that's true at all. I'd say think back to your childhood, especially if you lived in an era before all this social media crap and all these phones and stuff. I'm sure you had hobbies, I'm sure you had interests that really made you excited and made you enjoy life. And I'm sure there was some creative aspect to that. But I believe that as you apply this content diet and this idea of creating more than consuming to your life, you're going to find that. You're going to find that passion, that one thing that just makes you so excited to do. Because now your mind is actually free and clean enough to devote energy to creating, to the part of you that has been neglected for so long. It is literally part of who you are to create. And I just think this idea of being creative, of contributing to society, to sharing and expressing yourself in a unique, exciting way, I think this is going to add so much enjoyment to your life. I know it has for me. So try it out. Again, it's not going to be fun. It is really boring at the start, but it's worth it. You might as well give it a try. And I think that what you're going to start to realize is that you were truly created to create. All right, thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, or if there's anything else you want me to touch on or explore. I really love making these videos, and I hope this has been beneficial to you in some way. I'll see you in the next one.